What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon. MLB DFS video for Saturday. It is June 17th, and we are back with another video. Welcome. If you've never been here before, buckle up. You're in for a ride. Hopefully you learned something. If you do, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Anytime a video gets at least 50 likes and you leave a comment and you're a subscriber, we put your name into random.org, and you have a chance to win. What do you win? We'll randomize it 3 times. The winner will get a free MLB Week Pass from FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. If the video gets 100 likes, one person will be randomly chosen who leaves a comment to win a free month. And if this video gets 125 likes, you'll be randomly chosen to win a free MLB Season Pass. Another way to win: once we hit 10,000, if we hit 10,000 subscribers on this YouTube channel or our Twitter page at advisors_team before the start of the NFL season, someone will win a lifetime pass. So we did hit over 50 yesterday. So everyone that's put on a comment, your names are on here. We're going to randomize this 3 times, and then you will be the winner. So good luck to everybody. Let's see who wins. 1, 2, and the winner of the free MLB Week Pass is Dave White 613. Congratulations. Like this video, be a subscriber. Please be a subscriber, and hit me up either here and let us know you saw this. Hit us up on Twitter at advisors_team, or you can hit us up on our email dfshelp1@gmail.com. That's dfshelp, HELP1@gmail.com. All right, so let's break down this slate. So if you couldn't tell, not all of the pitchers are currently announced. I have to make this video a little bit early. I'm going to be out this weekend, and I need to make this video. I'll be gone all day for this slate. So what I'm going to do is, anyone who's subscribed to FTA Plus, I am going to have all of the information out early. I'm going to have the lineups out there. This is the one where you'll take the cheat sheet and you'll start building lineups. We'll have the lineups built, and then you can mix and match with some of the plays if some of the players are out for the lineups, because I will be out without service all day. It'd be kind of hard to do. So just kind of wanted to bring that to your attention, and I'm not 100% if I'll have a video on Sunday. Just a fair warning there. Anyone who signed up on the site, there'll still be information on the site. I just don't know if I'll have a video out for Sunday slate, but we will be back Monday for sure. So looking at this, obviously Saturday's split slate. We know this. If you've played for a while, you know that Saturdays are split slate. You got Joey Wentz currently against to be announced. Depending on who the Twins pitcher is, I will have a little bit of exposure to them in tournaments, just because it's the Tigers. And then Joey Wentz has only faced 14 plate appearances, 167. I'm okay with him for tournament-wise, but we're not looking for cash out of him. So looking at this, it will really depend on if it's a viable starter for the Twins to look at. We'll kind of wait and see. Hopefully they'll bring it won't wait till a couple hours before first pitch to decide who the pitcher's going to be. So right now, as of now, without lineups coming out, this is probably a game I avoid. With a split slate early, lineups will come out a little bit early, but there's no one that jumps out to me at the moment. Maybe once lineups comes out, weather comes out, Vegas numbers come out, we'll kind of see what we like there, and we'll go from there. Second game, Orioles at the Cubs. You got Kyle Gibson versus Justin Steele. I honestly don't mind either of these pitchers for tournaments. Kyle Gibson against the Cubs, 93 plate appearances, 18.3 K percentage, 373 batting average against him. Pretty high, barely striking him out against the Cubs. So we will look at the numbers, because it could be just a couple of pitchers or batters that have inflated these numbers here. Yan Gomes, 34 plate appearances, 13 for 32 with 2 doubles and 2 home runs. It's a 406 batting average. Dansby Swanson, 8 for 11 with a double and a home run. That's a 727. You got Cody Bellinger, 2 for 6 with 2 home runs. Trey Mancini, 2 for 8 with a double. Patrick Wisdom, 1 for 3 with a home run. Ian Happ, 2 for 5. So it's kind of, Kyle Gibson's been okay for us. We've used him a couple times this year. He's been okay, and then there's other times he's gotten lit up. The Cubs are the Cubs. We never really know what we're going to get out of him. That's why I can't trust Kyle Gibson here. And then Justin Steele coming off the IL. This one, he's so good early on the season. Then he got injured. Now he's coming back from the injured list, and I want to be able to trust him. I honestly do want to be able to trust him. At the moment, I'm not 100% sure that I can trust him for cash. I will look in tournaments, though. So kind of looking into this, the last time he pitched was May 31st, 3 innings. And the time before that, 3.2 innings. So against Tampa Bay, 3 innings, didn't give up looks like he got, I think, 1 or 2 strikeouts, didn't give up a run. They ended up losing the game. Time before that, against Cincinnati, 3.2 innings, had a 12.27 ERA in that game, 9.82 K per 9. So not the best outing out of him. Really started off strong. I mean, he's coming into this game with 6 wins. I mean, he's 6-0, or he's got 6 wins, 2.65 ERA, 7.68 K per 9. So not bad. The K per 9's down a little bit, and Baltimore can hit. So that is why I will have some exposure to both of these pitchers for tournaments. But honestly, there's other pitchers that I really like on this slate, or on this day. I'd rather look at the bats in this one, both sides. We looked at the Cubs bats. If we want to look, I mean, 15 plate appearances isn't a lot for the Orioles here, but we can look Santander 1 for 3 with a double, Austin Hayes 2 for 3. That's really it. You could be looking at, Adley's 0 for 3, but I mean, I've got to get some Adley in there. Got to get some Aaron Hicks if he's still super cheap and getting the start for tournament sake there. So looking at that, that's kind of my thought. I'll have a couple of exposure percentages to these two, but I'd rather take the bats in this game. Next game, Blue Jays at the Rangers, to be announced versus Dane Dunning. Again, it's really hard to want to take a pitcher against this Texas team. They can go off at any time. Looking at that, Dunning, 60 plate appearances against the Blue Jays, 21.7 K percentage, a 283 batting average. I kind of like him. We'll look at the numbers, though, just to see who's had success. Chapman, 2 for 6 with a double. Whit Merrifield, 3 for 10 with a triple. Vlad Jr., 3 for 8 with a double. Vlad's price is still relatively high considering his output that he's put this year. It's not hitting his ton of home runs yet, so kind of got to wait on that. Bo Bichette against Dane Dunning, 4 for 8, batting .500 with 3 home runs. I like that. Bo's a guy, gets on base. Bo knows. He knows. So not a ton. I don't know if I would stack the Blue Jays right now unless other news comes out, but I would take a look at Bo Bichette here. Maybe George Springer. Danny Jansen had 2 home runs the other day. Kind of look at some of those. Flip side of that, the pitcher probably not going to take whoever it is against the Rangers bats in this one. So I'd rather have a bit of exposure to Dane Dunning and the Rangers bats, and then if we're not using Dunning, I'll use a couple of the Blue Jays batters. Next game, Marlins at the Nats, Braxton Garrett versus Jake Irvin. Garrett, 30 plate appearances, 233 batting average, 16.7. I would rather take him. I'm looking at, we've used him like a handful of times this year, and he's come through for us. I'm trying to remember the last, I think we used, was it his last start? Yeah, his last start against the White Sox, we used him. 5.1 innings, didn't get the W, didn't give up a run, had a 15.19 K per 9. Trying to see if he's faced the Nationals before this year. Not yet. He has not faced them this year yet. So looking at this, I do like Garrett here. I don't trust Irvin enough. You could maybe make an argument for a cheaper SP2 on DraftKings just to find some salary relief if you're paying up for the bigger guys on the either pitching or for your bats. But if you're twisting my arm and looking here, probably taking some Braxton Garrett, maybe sprinkling some Marlins bats such as Luis Ariz, who seems to get on base all the time. You know, Soler, De La Cruz, Sanchez, just some to name a few. Next game, Phillies at the Athletics, to be announced versus James Caprillion. I will have a little bit of exposure to whichever pitcher this is unless it's an opener. So if this is an opener, I'll avoid it just because they're going to go 1 inning, maybe 2. But if this is a named pitcher that has pitched, multiple innings, then I will have some exposure to him against the A's because, again, as good as the A's have been playing lately, they're still a bad team. Caprillion's only faced 8 Phillies, 12.5 K percentage. I might throw Caprillion in there for maybe one or two lineups just because it is Oakland and the stadium's massive, so it's a pitcher's park. But again, I'd rather side with the Phillies. I'd rather side with whichever pitcher they throw out there. So if I'm looking at Phillies bats, most likely I'm looking at Castellanos, Schwarber, maybe Bryce Harper, but his price is still up there considering the output he's put out there. Trey Turner's there, Bryson Stott. There's a lot to like about the Phillies, regardless of who they're going up against. So the only caveat is this is a pitcher's park, so we could think of it in that sense and maybe stay away from this game. But I'd rather have some exposure to this game on the Phillies side. Reds at the Astros is next. Hunter Green versus Brandon Bilak. Hunter Green, neither has faced each other before. I think Green could be good. I think probably Green is your tournament pitcher. I think Bilak is more of your cash option if you want to go that way. But most likely I'll have them both in tournaments and not cash. Just the way it kind of goes. Both of these teams can hit. We know that. So we know the Astros have struggled in games in the past. They started off very slow this year, is coming on strong lately. And then, they got Altuve back. They have hitters. Bregman's really struggled this year. Jordan's out. There's just a lot of people out. Brantley, I don't even think has touched a ball yet this year. I don't even know if he's ramping up or anything right now. So kind of looking at that, Hunter Green's got that strikeout potential. And Houston's, they've been pitched well against this year. And there's an opportunity for Hunter Green to go underowned because he is going up against Houston. I kind of like Hunter Green here. Flip side of that, if you're looking at the Reds bats, they've been kind of hot, more specifically at home because it is a batter or hitter's park. But if I'm looking at some of the Reds bats that maybe jump out to me, Ellie De La Cruz, obviously, Spencer Steer, Matt McClain, India, just depending on who's in that lineup, you can find some cheaper options for the Reds on this one. So honestly, I kind of might lean towards Hunter Green and the Reds bats to get that leverage. We got to get some leverage when you're building tournament lineups. You got to find those, and we have contrarian stacks on the website, and those are the kind of ones where we can see, this ownership percentage, this amount of salary, and then you can see, lower ownership percentage, but maybe more points per dollar. That's kind of where we'd look at here. And the Reds fit the mold in this game. Next game, Angels at the Royals. To be announced for the Royals. I wouldn't take a pitcher for the Royals, though. Griffin Canning against the Royals, 14 plate appearance, 214. I have a little bit of exposure to him. I know we did stack against him, I believe, 5 days ago, which I'm trying to remember who he faced. Faced Seattle. We stacked against him, and it didn't work. I mean, he went 5 innings, got the W, but he did have a 5.4 ERA, but he got some strikeouts there. So we did look at completely stacking the Mariners, and it didn't work out in our favor. I think he continues that. He's got a good matchup today in Kansas City, which, as you know, if you've been with us before, I love pitchers in Kansas City more times than I hate pitchers at Kansas City versus Kansas City. So I will have some exposure to Canning. Just depending on what pitcher comes out, would kind of shore up my Angels bats that I like. But off the top, I mean, I don't know how you don't have Shohei in all of your lineups until he gets hurt or proves that he's not going to hit a home run. It just seems like every time I look at the box score, he's hitting a home run. Trout's kind of the opposite. I said in yesterday's video that he was hot. What I misspoke was he was hot when we used him the last 5 times. The last 5 times we had Trout in some of our optimal lineups, he hit a home run. So that's kind of what I meant there. But Trout would be a good one, just depending on who the pitcher is for Kansas City. This is a pitcher's park, but I'm still looking at Ohtani. I would look at Trout. His price is still up there, and he's gone 0 for 4, 0 for 3 more times than not lately, which unfortunate. But kind of looking at Canning, some Angels bats, Trout, Ohtani, Drury if he's in there, Gio if he's in there, Taylor Ward, maybe even a Rendon. Just depends on who is there. So kind of my thought process on this one. That's who I would be looking at. I wouldn't look at really no Kansas City bats even are in my mind right now. Probably won't even be once we see all the Vegas odds, all the numbers, and everything like that. So would rather take Canning and some of the Angels bats. Next game, Cardinals at the Mets. You got Adam Wainwright versus Kodai Senga. Wainwright, 166 plate appearances, 277 batting average, only striking out 16.9% of those batters. So not the favorite number there. And, coming into this game, Waino, 2 wins, 5.79 ERA, and a 5.06 K per 9. Not good numbers. Not striking out a ton. I know these are the Mets, but the Mets can put up runs too when they want to. So I'm obviously looking at Senga here 100%. Never faced him before. I like him. We've used him a ton this year. He's usually had good outings when we used him. If we aren't going Waino, which I don't see any scenario where I would take Wainwright at all. What Mets bats have had success? Starlin Marte has seen him a ton. 64 plate appearances against him. Batting .241, 14 for 58, a double, 2 triples, and 2 home runs. Omar Navaj, if you know what I'm talking about, 9 for 24 with 3 doubles and a home run. Eduardo Escobar, 4 for 15 with a double. Dan Vogelback, 2 for 13 with a home run. I wouldn't use him. Tommy Pham, 7 for 16 with 2 doubles and a home run. Jeff McNeil, 1 for 8. Lindor, 2 for 9. Mark Canha, 2 for 5 with 1 double there. So those are kind of some of the bats that I would use. Kind of got to wait for the lineups to come out, but Starlin Marte is a big one. Seen him a ton. I still feel confident about that. Omar Navaj, if he's in there starting, I don't mind him. Tommy Pham, Jeff McNeil are some of them that I would use. I am avoiding Wainwright altogether, and I will look at Senga against them. Rockies at the Braves is next. Connor Seabold versus Bryce Elder. Seabold's never faced the Braves before. Again, just like prior, I just don't know if I can trust any pitcher against this Braves team, because even when they're down big early, they seem to come back more times than they don't. And that's kind of where I'm on the fence of I can't trust any pitcher against this offense. Flip side of that, Bryce Elder only faced 2 plate appearances. He struck out 1, hasn't given up a hit. I'd rather take Bryce Elder here at home against the Colorado Rockies team. So my thoughts in this game, stack the Braves depending on what lineup comes out there. Matt Olson, Albies, Acuna, and Bryce Elder over Seabold or the Rockies bats. Next game, the White Sox at the Mariners. Lucas Giolito versus Logan Gilbert. Giolito against the Mariners here. 34 plate appearances, 286 batting average, striking out 26.5% of those batters that he has faced. On the flip side, you got Logan Gilbert, 45 plate appearances, 28.9 K percentage, 267 batting average. It really depends on just kind of looking at the game logs, though. Giolito against the Marlins, his last start, 7 innings, got the quality start, didn't get the W, gave up, I believe, 1 run, 10.29 K per 9. Against the Yankees, the start before that, got the W, no runs given up, barely any walks, and a 10.5 K per 9 there. His K per 9 is high. I'm trying to see if he's faced them this year yet. He has not. I kind of like both of these pitchers a little bit. I think Giolito is more of your cash option, and whereas Gilbert is more of your tournament option on the slate, because the White Sox can hit. We saw that, Thursday night. We saw, I think, all runs in the game were home runs. I think Eloy had a home run. Lou Bob Jr. had a home run. Was it Andrew Vaughn or Sheets had a home run? There was home runs in that game. I think that's kind of my thought. Like, if the White Sox are off just a little bit, they're going to lose the game. And the opposing pitcher is in store for possibly a good game. Flip side of that, when they are absolutely on, they're unstoppable. They're hitting home runs. Those are where your fantasy points come from. Extra base hits, home runs. That's where we're going to get those points at. If we're not taking either of these pitchers and you want to look into the bats that may pique your interest a little bit. The Mariners bats against Giolito. Teoscar Hernandez, 4 for 14 with 3 doubles. Suarez is 1 for 1. That's a home run. Ty France 1 for 3 with a double. J.P. Crawford, 1 for 2. Dylan Moore, 1 for 2. Julio Rodriguez has never faced him before, so could be an option there. But, getting up in price for someone who's never faced him before. So kind of my thought there. Not a ton. I wouldn't stack the Mariners, though. And then if you're not taking Gilbert and you want to look at the White Sox bats that have had success against him, while, only 45 plate appearances. Benintendi, 3 for 11 with 3 doubles. Elvis Andrus, 3 for 8 with a home run. Gavin Sheets, 1 for 5. Tim Anderson, 2 for 4. Someone actually just dropped Tim Anderson in my season-long league, which is weird to think about, but I don't think Anderson has a home run this year. And it's kind of like Miggy. Anderson's still batting like 280, 290 or something like that, but kind of crazy to think about that he's not on a roster. I'm trying to see what his numbers are. Let's see real quick. Oh, no, he's batting 251, no home runs, 21 runs, 10 RBIs, 7 stolen bases. So, yeah, Tim Anderson's not one that has had success this year. I don't know if he's hurt. I don't know if something's going on, but that's where he is at. I don't think I would stack either of these teams. You could pick and choose some players out of here, but there's other games that I really like for the offenses as a little bit more than this game. Next game, Pirates at the Brewers. You got Mitch Keller versus Wade Miley. Keller, 46 plate appearances, 205 batting average, 26.1 K percentage. On the flip side of that, Wade Miley, 89 plate appearances, 286. I would rather take Mitch Keller here. I don't trust Wade Miley. So let's just look at, if you're not taking Mitch Keller, we can look at what Brewers bats have had success in the past. Yelich, 1 for 8. Willie Adames, 4 for 12 with 2 doubles and a home run. Rowdy Tellez, 2 for 4 with a home run. William Contreras, 1 for 5. Yeah, I'd rather take Mitch Keller here between these two pitchers. And then if you want to get a little contrarian, we can take a look at the Pirates bats, which might be, I was going to say Kutch, probably up there. 4 for 22 with a double. It's still only a 182 batting average. Carlos Santana would be a cheaper option, 7 for 14 with a double and a home run. Brian Reynolds is on my shit list right now. I had a 5 and if you saw Thursday's YouTube short where I had, I think, 5-player parlay to get a hit, Brian Reynolds was the only one that didn't get me a hit. So he's on my list. Castro, 4 for 7 with a double. I think a sneakier stack today could be the Pirates, just depending on what Pirates. Maybe a Kutch, Santana, Cabrian Hayes, Sawinski possibly is kind of where I'd look at there. Not going to have any exposure to Miley. Maybe, I guess, if you want to try to get a little bit of exposure, once all the lineups come out and the contrarian lineups, all of our information's on the site, might throw Wade Miley into a lineup, possibly, but it's not a sexy name. It seems like he's been pitching for 30 years for some reason. It's coming off the IL. This is the only thing. Coming off the IL, I wanted to look. There's no note saying that Miley is on a pitch count or anything like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was. He hasn't pitched since May 16th, so he hasn't pitched in over a month. Does come in with 3 wins on the year, 3.67 ERA, but he's not striking many out, 5.18. So yeah, I'd rather take Mitch Keller and the Pirates bats over Wade Miley and really any of the Brewers bats. Rays at the Padres is next. Zach Eflin versus Blake Snell. Eflin, we used him his last start, which I don't really want to talk about it, but I will because I'm an open book. Against Oakland, at Oakland, I believe Eflin was the highest priced pitcher on the slate. Yet again, we took a high priced pitcher. 4.2 innings against Oakland, 7.71 ERA. Did have 11.57 K per 9 though, but the Padres are hitting right now. Against them, 85 plate appearances, 276 batting average, 17.6 K percentage. Flip side of that, Blake Snell. Here's the thing with Blake Snell. He's facing his old team. When Blake Snell is on, he's a great pitcher to have. But if he loses that strike zone, he's walking people. He's giving up unearned runs. He's giving up runs, and he's getting yanked out of the game. And they're facing Tampa Bay. Now, this is a pitcher's park in San Diego, but let's look at what Padres bats have had success against Eflin. Soto's 11 for 23, 2 doubles and 2 home runs. Haven't used Soto a ton. I don't mind him at all. Don't mind Machado, 3 for 14 with a double and a home run. Cronenworth hasn't done much. Bogarts is 2 for 5. That's really it. Tatis 1 for 3. Odor 1 for 3, 1 for 2 for Musgrove, who won't pitch or won't bat. Nelson Cruz 1 for 1, which I wouldn't use Nelson Cruz. So if I am taking batters here against Eflin, it would be Juan Soto, Manny Machado, Bogarts, Tatis, Grisham. I could see you making and I talked about this, I think it was yesterday's video, where you ask about certain stacks that I like. Padres would be a stack that I like, but I think this is one where you make multiple different San Diego stacks. So, you've got the high price Soto, Machado, Tatis, Grisham. Then you go, and if you feel better, you go Soto, Grisham, Gary Sanchez, Matt Carpenter, a lower salaried guys too, because sometimes it's the big high price guys that put up a ton of runs for you in these stacks, and then sometimes, guys, it's those lower price guys that just come through and the stack is correct, you just had the wrong batters in it. So that's kind of what it feels like here. Probably won't have any Eflin here. I'll have a little bit of Snell, but not a ton, and probably only in tournaments just because of how badly he loses the strike zone when he loses the strike zone. Yankees at the Red Sox is the next game. Clark Schmidt versus Brian Bello. I believe these two just faced each other. Was it Sunday? Let me see when they faced each other. The 11th. Yeah, so they faced each other the 11th. Schmidt didn't do too bad. 5.1 innings, 1.69 ERA, 6.75 K per nine. So he's not striking out a ton. He's ground ball pitching. He's getting outs, but not strikeouts, which equal fantasy points. 31 plate appearances, 22.6 K percentage, 226 batting average. Flip side of that, Bello, 54 plate appearances, 196. I want to see how he did. I believe he did pretty good on Sunday Night Baseball. And I believe they lost the game in extra innings. Yankees did. So, yeah, I mean, he had a good game, 7 innings, 2.57 ERA. So I believe he gave up 2 earned runs, but only 3.86 K per nine. So he wasn't striking out a ton. And he's not striking out a ton of people. So honestly, in this game, probably avoiding both of these pitchers, probably looking at the bats because, like I said in yesterday's video, Fenway gives up runs. They're, I believe, the top of the list. Let's see. If you go to MLB down here and you go to MLB ballpark stat ratings, and I believe this is the case. We can check it out. Fenway gives up the most amount of runs on the year so far. Okay. So currently they're updating. This is on Microsoft or Office Live. Let me get up the regular thing real quick. And we'll see, and we'll refresh the page. Okay. So there it is. You've got, we'll sort it by most amount of runs. And you can do this too on the website when it's working. This is why I need a new chart plug-in for WordPress. If anyone knows any, let me know. So yeah, Fenway's given up the second most amount of runs on the slate, but the first amount when it comes to active fields that are being played. 396 total runs in 36 games this year. They rank second overall. Home run rank 83. They rank 14 overall. Slugging rank is 2. So a lot of hits, a lot of runs are coming out of this game and out of the stadium. So if we're not looking at the pitching and we are looking at just specifically the bats in this one, let's take a look at the bats against Clark Schmidt. They didn't really have much success against him on Sunday Night Baseball, but now it's another day. Devers is 0 for 5. He's always a threat to hit a home run at home. Justin Turner 1 for 2 with a home run. Tristan Casas 1 for 4 with a home run. Reese McGuire 1 for 3 with a home run. Jarren Duran 2 for 3 with a double. So honestly, I don't mind a Red Sox stack. I don't mind a Yankee stack against Bello either. He's just not striking out a ton of people. And that's when you're taking a pitcher. I mean, they could give up no runs, but if you're not striking anyone out, you're not getting enough fantasy points to justify paying for you. And that's really what you need when you're building through. So I don't know why this isn't loading. Okay. Is this site down too now? Great. So, well, we're going to go with what we can. If we can't go over bats, we'll just go over pitching. But yeah, so the Yankees bats that I would take would be a Harrison Bader. Rizzo has been slow since getting hit in the head by Fernando Tatis's knee, but I like him. Stanton in this ballpark, I like him. Glaber, DJ. There'll be multiple different ways I would stack this game for the Yankees. But the thing is, there's so many cheaper priced guys that you could do that. Jake Bauers, depending on who starts in the outfield for the Yankees. I like both sides of this. I'm probably avoiding both of these pitchers. They're just not getting enough strikeouts to pay for their salaries. Giants at the Dodgers. Giants currently don't have a pitcher slated. Don't know if it's going to be opener like it was on Friday with Brebbia. So I would avoid this pitcher anyway. Probably not taking Bobby Miller either. I'd rather take the Dodgers bats. Depending on what San Francisco pitchers out there, probably looking at Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. Love some Chris Taylor. He's a little bit cheaper. Outman. Miguel Vargas a little bit. Just trying to think of the lower price guys. Will Smith out there as well. I would avoid a San Francisco pitcher against the Dodgers roster, and I would look at Dodgers bats in this one. And then the final game on the slate, you got the Guardians at the Diamondbacks. You got Shane Bieber versus Tommy Henry. Bieber, 27 plate appearances, 200 batting average. They don't see them a ton. And I really want to like Bieber in this one. We've used him his last couple of starts. They haven't been as good of starts as I would like. His last start against Houston, we did use him, was a really good start. 7 innings pitched, 1 W, no earned runs, 11.57 ERA. I would look at Shane Bieber. I would avoid Tommy Henry. And if you're looking, and honestly, probably not even going to look at Tommy Henry in this one. It's either Shane Bieber or nothing. But we can look at the bats just to see, what Arizona bats have had success against him in the past. They've been a very hot-hitting team. I believe they're first in the NL West. They might have the best record in the NL right now. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. has seen him the most, 4 for 10 with a double. And then Jake McCarthy 1 for 2, and that's it. Everyone else is struck out, or just gotten out, like Josh Rojas 0 for 3 or Emmanuel Rivera 0 for 2. So not much. I will have some exposure to Bieber. Probably an SP1, SP2, doesn't matter. Cash or tournaments, I don't care. But remember, Arizona has been hitting the ball very, very well. That is the kind of thought process there. Probably won't have Henry, but that being said, there's not a ton of Cleveland bats that scare me outside of Jose Ramirez. And then just looking at who's been hot lately, Jose Ramirez 0 for 2. Josh Naylor, I believe, has a hit in his last 10 games. Whether or not that equals any more fantasy points other than a hit, probably not, but that's a sports betting thing. Josh Bell 1 for 2, Rosario 1 for 3 with a home run, Stephen Kwan 1 for 3, and that's it. But he hasn't struck out. Two batters out of 18 plate appearances is a strikeout, and that's really it. So not a ton to like on his side. A couple of the Cleveland bats, but if I am taking a pitcher here, probably Shane Bieber. And that's it. That's the breakdown. That's what we've got going on for this Saturday edition. Any comments, questions, concerns, get those down below. The earlier, the better. Like I said, I will be out pretty much early morning till Sunday afternoon. So I won't be able to answer questions here on Twitter unless it's very early. I won't be able to answer them on or here on YouTube or Twitter because I will be out. So this is a day maybe you just, watch the video, use some of the experience. If you haven't already, sign up. Go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, FTA Plus tab right here. Take you to the front page. FTA Plus, this is the final month that it'll be only $10, and then it will go up once NFL starts. But FTA Plus is here, and we are building out a Discord channel. We had one before, but we had to shut it down. I need to get bots back in there. I need to figure out what bots everyone's looking for. If you have any suggestions of a good Discord bot, sports-wise. Would love to get those added in there and things you're looking for in that Discord channel. So there'll be some free channels in there, but mostly if you are a subscriber to FTA Plus, there will be those membership channels for you as well. So good luck to everyone on this slate. Again, if this video gets 50 likes, one person will win a free week of content. If it gets 100 likes, one person will win a month. If it gets 150 likes, that one person, 125 likes, sorry, one person will be chosen to receive the rest of the MLB season completely free. So good luck on this slate, everyone. Let's bring up some bacon. Peace!